Welcome to IC Tales, sir. We are very glad to have you
Thank
here.
you.
So,
Glad to be a
just
part of it.
I'm so sorry for the delay also. I was having bit of a yeah. So, welcome to IC Tales listener. Hope you all are having a great day. Today we have with us Abhay Thhakkar, who is a motivational speaker and an NLP trainer, a term which is very quite popular these days. He gives NLP coaching, and I can confidently say he's great at it. We all know how important it is to keep our mental health a priority to ensure our complete overall health. Today, we'll be discussing how Ajay started his journey, how he has been able to keep up with the good work with his passion of helping and healing others. So, hi Abhay, how are you? How's your journey been,
I'm
and
good. How are you?
how does it feel to be here? I'm great. I'm great. Thank you for asking.
It's my pleasure to be a part of this session.
Great. Thank you. So, my first question would be, what was your starting point? How did you get into NLP?
Well, completely by chance. Okay. So, way back in 2008, I was doing a course of sound recording because I
Hmm.
love music, studying also
Oh,
sound recording. And meanwhile, I just came across an advertisement of graphology, which is basically handwriting analysis and
yeah.
therapy. And I attended the course. I found it very fascinating. So then I also started giving one-to-one sessions like part-time, and then my clientele grew, and then I got more curious about this field of human behavior. And then I saw an advertisement of NLP. Okay, again, this was way back in 2008, 9, on the newspapers used to see these small ads at that time. So I saw this advertisement, I went for the course, and honestly, I did not understand it. So it didn't click me at that time. But then I seeked for some other course. So then I attended hypnotherapy, I attended regression therapy, and then I learned NLP from some other NLP trainer. And that's the time I really found it fascinating. And then I started doing more and more one-to-one sessions. I started doing more, and then I started teaching also hypnotherapy and a lot of these modalities I was learning, utilizing. And then I wanted to take it up more. And then I
Yeah.
went to Spain. I've spent 6 months in
Oh,
Spain and a month in Portugal to learn from the co-creators of NLP, co-developers of NLP. And that's where I actually learned much more about NLP and New Code NLP. I also became an NLP trainer and New Code NLP trainer. And from then on, it's always been so much satisfying to enable people to enhance their life through New Code NLP, and all of these models.
that's great. So, can you explain NLP in simpler terms to our listeners?
If you go online and ask what is NLP, you'll get tons of definition,
No,
right?
what is your
So,
definition? Like, what will you explain our listeners?
well, I like one of the definition that simply states NLP is a study of excellence.
Oh,
So what that actually means is, look, when it comes to these geniuses and excellent people in terms of the performance in the every human endeavor, they're doing something that's different compared to the average performance. So what is it that they are doing? It's different. So through NLP patterns, you can actually, or it's in fact called as NLP modeling, you can decode the patterns that are used by the geniuses. You can decode it, you can understand them, and then you can apply it and thereby get much better results than you have been given.
yeah.
So that's one aspect about NLP. And NLP started way back in 1970s, and the co-creators of NLP, they decoded the patterns of in the field of psychotherapy. So in terms of Virginia Satir, Fritz Perls, Erickson, what is it that they are doing? So their patterns were decoded, and from there, that's where the NLP techniques and tools have been developed. And since NLP is not, when it comes to excellent, it's not just excellent performers in the field of health, there's also excellent performers in sports and every
Yeah.
human endeavor. So through NLP modeling, you can decode the patterns and then you can apply.
Yeah. So, like, you have
So
met a
that's
variety of people, like you have been interacting with them. What are the kind of issues they come up with? What are the kind of issues they are facing?
Look, so if you're saying NLP in the field of therapy, therapeutic
Yeah.
applications, then it again ranges from emotional issues like anxiety, fear, then mental issues like depression. You can actually, through NLP, New Code NLP, enable them to overcome.
Yeah. So
So
like,
it
what's
actually,
your hmm.
sorry, and actually it ranges. Right now, we only just confined and speaking for the, in terms of therapy, but you can
Hmm.
actually use it for enhancing performance, for example, dance
Yeah.
performance, public speaking,
Oh,
sports performance, or sales. You can actually apply it for a wide variety of professional fields, actually.
like, what's your process of handling each individual? Because everyone has their own school of thoughts, and people are actually they're like many listeners don't have the ability to listen. They're like, no, I am right. I have been listening to this since my childhood, and I'm gonna stuck to this point. So how do you handle them?
In fact, the answer is in your question. You said the word listening. That's the key,
Okay.
right? It's not hearing. Hearing, it's like listen to from one ear and remove from the other ear. That's what hearing is. Listening is actually being attentive and acknowledge as well what the other person is saying. Now, I'm not saying accepting, I meant ignore. And
Hmm.
then comes how you're communicating with that person. Okay. So a simple demonstration, if I can give to you, suppose you are
Hmm.
saying certain things, then I say, yes, but now what will happen is automatically I'm wired to go against what you have said.
Yeah.
Compared to yes and, now when I say yes
Okay.
and, automatically
Understanding.
I'm wired to go into the space where I'm acknowledging your point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right.
there are
Right.
these small tricks, I would say, in the field of NLP that can help you to listen as well as communicate more effectively.
That is like this slight word difference that makes like people want to listen. That's so great. So there's this thing called like old NLP and there's new NLP. So what's the difference between them?
Okay, let me rename it. It's not old NLP, it's called as classic code NLP and new code
Classic.
NLP.
Okay, okay. Sorry for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
These are terminologies by John Grinder, who's the co-creator of
Yeah.
NLP. He co-created classic code NLP and then he came up with new code NLP.
Hmm.
So you're asking the differences, right?
Yeah.
So the difference between NLP and new code NLP, or that matter, classic code and new code NLP, is that in new code NLP, we're involving much more of the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind
Hmm.
to select a behavior or emotional state and the outcome for the person. Okay.
Hmm.
So just to give an example, in NLP or a classic code NLP practitioner, the conscious mind of the client will select the tools and techniques a person requires in a situation. Whereas
Hmm.
in new code NLP, the subconscious mind of the person will select the the behavior, the emotional state, as well as the outcome they require. So that's one of the,
Okay.
let's say, major difference.
Like how would you define healing? Like what is healing for you?
Look, the word healing has come from the word whole and complete.
Yeah.
So the point is that we are all born in whole and complete. Now, with time, we go through traumas. So a part of us gets disintegrated, and a part
Hmm.
of us is stuck and is holding on to emotions and thoughts.
Yeah.
So when we are saying healing, we are enabling a person to release the emotions and rewire the thought process. So that's when you can say, okay, we have healed from a situation.
So you have been in this field of training for I think 12 plus years now. What changes have you seen in the mentality of people over the years?
Well, there is much more curiosity in this field.
Okay.
And people are willing to actually take out time from their work and
Hmm.
attend these courses compared to before.
Okay,
The
that's great.
receptivity is more. So that's the huge change that I see. Now, of course, I could give credit to people like Sadhguru and all of
Yeah,
them.
yeah,
So many of them are spreading about spirituality, about
yeah.
philosophy, and all of these fields, because of which people have become more receptive. They know A lot of people know about NLP. They've heard about NLP. They've heard about hypnosis. So there's receptivity is much more.
So does NLP involve like a touch of spirituality too?
Well, John Grinder would definitely say no. Look, it does. It's NLP is very practical, and it's completely pragmatic. So it does not have any spiritual element into it. Now, of course, you can perceive it. It's again your outlook to it. So the same concepts can be viewed from a spiritual perspective, definitely.
Yeah. And you also deal with a lot of teenagers today and so-called the Gen Z generations. And they have been going through a lot of mental stress, or you can say anxiety. And so what's your message for them, or what will you tell them? Because you can see past COVID, there have been a lot of cases where teenagers are suffering through all of this.
Okay. So, of course, the common professional, right? So, obviously, that's one of the common answers, and that's an answer I would give. Other answers I would give is be aware of the labels that people are putting on you or you are putting on yourself. These days, a lot of these labels, like depression, has been freely being used.
Yeah.
So just be aware of not just labeling it, get professional, and not just get into these labels. So a lot of these labels like ADHD and all kinds of
Yeah.
labels people are aware of, then they simply automatically, and that's not the best thing. In fact, my mother is a doctor, general
Okay.
practitioner, and the people she used to get, I mean, she's retired now. So before she used to get these patients who would check online, okay, this is my problem, these are the pills. So then my mom's like, okay, are you coming here to test me, or like you already read, you have to test me? So my point is, instead of just checking up on Google, seeing some videos and going through a diagnostic, I have depression, or I have these ailments, okay, I have ADHD and all of these things. How about instead of doing all that research, that's good to be aware, but go to a professional is my
Yeah.
recommendation. And just for a little bit awareness, curiosity, yes, you can read, check out these videos, read some books, but don't diagnose
Google
yourself.
Google symptoms and yeah, we like they have the tendency to just Google symptoms. They'll just read 4 to 5 symptoms and they're like, oh, maybe I have this. There is that mentality. That's right. And so, how does it feel to help people? Be there for them. How does it feel?
Well, obviously, it's very satisfying. Well, that's the word that comes to me. So, the satisfying.
That's great. So I think you're a website designer too. You used to play guitar. And so what are your other hobbies? How do you take time for yourself among all this work?
Well, in fact, the core is all about creativity for me. So it's simply getting expressed through multiple ways. So whether it's designing a website or playing guitar, or for that matter, facilitating workshops, courses. Now, when I'm also facilitating courses, I facilitate them in a very unique way. I've designed very different activities. So literally, we are playing games or dumb charades and all these different activities through which the participants learn. So all is simply an extension of creativity, and it's not that I do not find, for me, it's all about priority. So in that moment in time, what is my priority? I do that. So if it's about facilitating my courses at that time, is my priority, I would do that. And when suddenly I feel, okay, my priority at that moment in time is simply to express it through playing guitar or, designing something, maybe a brochure or a poster, or designing, I just do that. It's all about just priority.
Yeah, and I think you've traveled across the world, conducted workshops in various countries. So how has this experience been?
Right. Again, facilitating courses abroad is unique. I mean, when I say abroad, it's Europe. Now in Europe, we require a translator. So whether it's
Yeah.
Spain or Italy, the uniqueness comes in facilitating the workshop, and the same words are getting translated in another language from the translator, and then the translator is communicating, and then the questions are being asked in that language. Translator converts it. So, it's a very unique experience. And I mean, that's the uniqueness and that's what's different. But in terms of individuals, I mean, look, people have the same issues, whether it's abroad or whether it's India, the issues are the same. People, I mean, behaviors are actually the same on the same lines. We come across all kinds of people in India as well as across abroad. So that remains the same.
So, what do you think is the core of all these problems that they are facing? Everyone's going through something. They say no one's happy. No one's really happy in this world. Everyone's going through something. So, what do you think is the core of all these problems?
Look, it's all your perception about a problem. Now, if you look at problem as problems, they will be a problem.
Hmm.
So my suggestion is how we look at it as a challenge rather than a
Okay.
problem. So our mindset simply shifts by calling it as a challenge. And then
Hmm.
it's about moving into solution. If you are
Okay.
too much stuck, it's a problem. You will be stuck for a really long time. And how long do you want to be stuck in the problem? Ask yourself. And what will be the consequences? Imagine being stuck in the problem for the next 10 years. How would your life be? Is that the life you want?
Horrible. No.
Right? So how about seeking for a solution? What's the solution for it?
Hmm.
And moving towards the solution. Now that's the key to come out of the problem. And when you're
Yeah.
coming out of the problem and moving into solutions, there are things you can do. For example, what is an emotion that can help you to move towards the solution? For example, is it more calmness, more confidence, or any what are the emotions that can help you to move towards the solution? And
Hmm.
then to enhance the solutions in terms of enhance those emotions which will help you to reach the outcome. So that's how you can, work with this issue that.
So, how would you tell how NLP is different from other techniques? There are many techniques where one can heal themselves or communicate. So, how is NLP different?
Well, NLP, if I were to compare it to certain modalities like psychoanalysis or certain modalities that
Hmm.
were prior, there's a difference. Now, when it
Hmm.
comes to NLP, they studied people who overcame the issue rather than
Hmm.
studying the issue.
Okay.
Now, that's what the approach, like Freud and the psychoanalysis, is on the
Hmm.
lines of studying an issue. But the co-creators of NLP, they studied people who overcame the problem. For
Hmm.
example, this fears, phobias, they studied people who overcame the fears rather than
Hmm.
studying the fear. So that's how NLP differentiates between, you can say, psychoanalysis and other practices. And if I were to speak about new code NLP, well, that is very different from all the modalities I've learned, because in new code NLP, we also have worked through games. That's what fascinates me. So just by playing games, so through a fun way in about 12 minutes or so, you can
Hmm.
automatically access the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind, say, and automatically rewire the thoughts and emotions that you feel about that situation. So that's really different from the modality that I've learned. And a lot of modalities I had learned was the healing was based on catharsis. Now,
Okay.
catharsis is an important part of healing. What I mean by catharsis is, cathartic release is like people cry and vent out the
Hmm.
emotions that they feel, kind of thing is called as catharsis. Now,
Yeah.
in you code NLP with games, we are not doing any catharsis kind of way, but still you can actually heal. So that's something that's very different, I would say, from you code NLP compared to other practices.
Okay. And so, what do you think the future of this will be? How will the mentality change, or how will the mental health of people would be in the future, in the upcoming years?
Well, I do not know because I have no idea about how things would be in the future. Well, I can only hope for it. I can only hope that people will be more open, willing to move towards self-empowerment. By self-empowerment, I mean learning these tools and techniques to work on themselves and also then help out their family members. And
Hmm.
also, what I would like is to have that also in the education system,
Yeah,
like
correct.
emotional techniques for emotional healing. It's something so basic, and that's
Absolutely, yeah.
something that I to be a part of the education system.
Good point, actually, because they are taught a tons of things, but they're not taught about their own mental health. And talking about it was such a stigma back in the years. But we are glad that we are, people are opening up nowadays. That's great. So like meet people from a variety of age ranges. Like you get people from the 40s and the 30s. And how different are they? Like what problems are they facing at their levels? So how are they different?
Okay. Look, obviously, when it comes to students, their focus is more on the lines of the education. And, then when it comes to parents of children, so, the line like, okay, child does not listen to me and all of these behavior issues, then it's quite taxing actually for parents to, deal with children these days. And
Yeah.
compared to before, it's quite taxing. Then that's an issue. And then when it comes to the work, obviously there's a lot of pressure. I mean, these are very common
Hmm.
things. And then commonly at the age of years or so, they might be seeking maybe another field. Maybe they're
Hmm.
going on an internal quest, asking themselves, okay, why am I here? What am I doing here? They might seek a lot of, different profession or certain answers that they've never thought of. Probably COVID also contributed to that when
Yeah.
they actually might have evaluated what profession they are doing and maybe shifting these kind of things that evaluation does. So yes, the issues vary quite a bit.
So coming to Anman, what are your future plans? What do you plan to do? How your workshops will different be and where they will be and how they will be?
Well, my workshops, well, that's a question. I don't know what to answer about that. But definitely the kind of courses that I've been conducting, they have been on the lines of healing intensive. And
Hmm.
that's my intention or the purpose behind the courses is to make it more and more healing intensive,
Hmm.
where a person attends my workshop and they go through a self transformation. That's my number
Hmm.
one priority.
Yeah.
And there are tons of people who have actually experienced a lot of shift in their lives through the. And then there are some of them who actually want to take it up professionally or semi professionally, where they actually want to use the tools and techniques to enable other people
Hmm.
to overcome certain issues or enable them to achieve certain outcome that they. So that's the other purpose. So this has been my purpose and that will continue.
So thank you so much, Abhay, for your such valuable information and insights. We as a team really appreciate your efforts towards helping others and trying to bring a change. We hope everyone starts working towards mindfulness for a better tomorrow. And thanks again. We will be back again, IC Tell viewers, with an amazing content. Till then, please subscribe to our channels. Thank you.